Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics and Ramac. Berto Will is your host. Welcome aboard, Michael Rutten, and welcome aboard, Bruce Blard. How you guys are doing today? Great, 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 great. And you're watching. Bruce, you are watching, you are sharing, and you are editing some nasty code. If I remember the good old days, my brother Bruce, that would be called, you must be editing what we used to call in the day spaghetti code. So reply to me if that's what you're editing. Spaghetti code meaning you're going all over the place in something that should be very von Neumann to something that is von Neumann-esque, but all over the place. Anyhow, folks, we're going to have a great program for you today. Let me not lie to you about having a great program today. We always have a great program because you are here. If you're not here, it's not a great program. If you are here, it's a wonderful program. But let me tell you something. I had very little time to prepare anything today, and let me tell you why. I was on a great conference call with, you remember, Representative Kucinich, and also with his wife, who's also an activist. And on the call as well was the mayor of Phoenix and the mayor of North Carolina, the mayor of what city in North Carolina? I think it's Raleigh. It's a woman, either Raleigh, North Carolina, or one of the cities in North Carolina. So we had a great conversation on the emergency that we're going through as a city, as a country right now. So it was one of those emergency calls where you started to discuss how the hell are we going to get out of what we are into right now. How are we going to really survive? Is it going to be even possible for us to make it out of this? And you know my answer to that all the time. My answer to that is, of course, we went through 1929. Of course, the unemployment is probably going to be worse than 1929. But we also went through the famine crisis and all of that. If we put our heads together, we can survive. The problem right now is what corporations are going to do right now is they're looking out for themselves, and they want to make sure that as we move out of this morass, that they are taken care of first, and number two, that in the process of getting out of this morass, we don't get more power than we have. In fact, the idea is to leave us with even less power, because as on an extractive system, too much power stops the extraction, and I can go on and on and on and on about that. Anyhow, so I didn't get a chance to really make a completely and entirely cohesive program. As you guys know, during the days, what I do is as I'm programming, or I'm writing, I'm reading, I have two screens that are going here with the TV sometimes on MSNBC, CNN, Fox News every so often, and the ears is kind of trying to figure out, there are keywords that would come in, and I'll turn around and say, oh, really? And boom, start taping or getting clips of it so that I can show you. And yesterday was almost like a panacea. So I want to start with a piece that I saw with what's his name last night, Chris Hayes. Chris Hayes, all in last night. Because the whole narrative that I want to push first is what Republicans are doing right now with the body politic, with people, giving them the semblance of caring, but at the time when government is really necessary, in these times, in the times of unemployment, in the times of where you need them for whatever, we have an issue with how effective they are. Why? Check this piece out, and then we're going to take it on the other side.
Associated Press reports nearly 7 of every 8 Floridians who managed to file claims during the 3 weeks from mid-March until early April were still waiting to have them processed, the worst rate in the country. I've even been getting emails from some of you, from viewers in Florida, who cannot get through the system, can't have their claims processed. Things got so bad that at one point last week, people in the town of Hialeah were so desperate for unemployment applications, they risked exposure to the virus en masse so they could get one in person. But the backstory of Florida's terrible and rickety unemployment system is way worse than simple incompetence. Because back in 2011, former Republican Governor Rick Scott and his Republican state legislature overhauled Florida's unemployment system to intentionally try and keep the numbers of people getting it low. They wanted to make unemployment as difficult as possible to get. And so They cut benefits from 26 weeks down to as few as 12. And Floridians who once could file by phone now had to file online and faced a set of new electronic filing requirements that made the process of establishing eligibility one of the most onerous in the nation. The current Republican governor, Ron DeSantis, says he wants to try and fix this mess. Some in his administration are admitting that the $77 million system overhaul by Rick Scott is failing by design. A quote, "It's a SH sandwich, and it was designed that way by Scott," said one DeSantis advisor. It wasn't about saving money. It was about making it harder for people to get benefits or keep benefits so that the unemployment numbers were low to give the governor something to brag about. Republican Party of Florida Chairman Joe Gruters was more succinct. $77 million, someone should go to jail over that. This is what you get when you elect Republicans to break government. They will break it, but you never know when you're actually going to need it to work.
I love the way you end that. And that is, this is what you get when you elect Republicans to government. They break it, and they break it at that time when you need it. Look, this isn't a lot of people say Republican, Democrats, they're all the same, all that kind of stuff. There is a distinct difference, however. Yes, they are both plutocratic. Yes, they both have the same benefactors, etc. The difference is if you are a Democrat, you believe in some semblance of government. And you believe in some semblance of government. The lower level Democrats, at least, believe in some level of government for the people. The other ideology believes government is a hindrance. And that's an ideological thing. It's an ideological thing that you have to understand, right? And if you doubt it, there's a interview that Chuck Todd did yesterday. And like I tell you, the way I listen to my news, I'm listening to 2 or 3 of them at the same time, and I'm reading different articles. I want you to listen to this, but beforehand, I want to tell you, today, the reason I called the show Your Topic Friday is since I really didn't have a ton of material. I have a lot, but not a ton. And it means that if there's anything that you specifically want to talk about, you can either give me a call up I'm going to ask you to give me a call at 646-716-5812, and you'll be in charge. 646-716-5812. But anyhow, going back to the subject, to show you the mentality of these people, okay? This is how they think, and I was so surprised to see what Chuck Todd did as he interviewed the governor of Mississippi. Because the governor slipped, Chuck Todd caught him, and then the governor corrected himself. I want you to listen to this, and then we'll take it on the other side.
Associated Press reports nearly 7 of every 8 Floridians who managed to file claim.
Wrong one. Let's get to the right one. I think it's this one. Nope, that's not that one. It's this one here, Corp. That's the one. There we go.
Governor, one last industry I'm curious about, and I'm curious how you're thinking about it, because there's a lot of revenue that comes from it, and that's the casino industry. How do your health advisors advise you on when and how to let casinos reopen?
Yeah, that's a great question, Chuck. We're spending a lot of time looking at that as incredibly important industry in our state. Not only do we receive somewhere in the neighborhood of $150 million a year directly into the state coffers, many of our local governments get significant amounts of revenue, and so the cities and the counties are affected tremendously as well. And so we're looking at responsible ways to do it. We reached out to the industry and we encouraged them to provide us their guidelines on how the industry could reopen in a safe, responsible way. The Gaming Commission is a 3-person
You'll take industry guidelines
actually regulates
over your
gaming
guidelines?
in Mississippi. No, we asked them to provide guidelines, and we have the Gaming Commission actually looking at it, and they are going to come up with their own guidelines, and then ultimately we'll look at both of them and we'll make a decision.
When I was putting that video together, I have this new thing that I put in where when somebody says something that catches your eye, you automatically back up and play it again so people can really hear it, right? I didn't do it this time. I should have done it this time. But anyhow, as you can see, what the guy pretty much says is, we go to the industry and the industry writes the rules and send it back to us. You know what? I want to play this again. It's a short one. It's a short one, so I want to play it again because a lot of people, it's so quick they don't get it. But listen to how he said he'll decide if he'll open up the state again. Check it out.
Governor, one last industry I'm curious about, and I'm curious how you're thinking about it because there's a lot of revenue that comes from it, and that's the casino industry. How do your health advisors advise you on when and how to let casinos reopen?
Yeah, that's a great question, Chuck. We're spending a lot of time looking at that as incredibly important industry in our state. Not only do we receive somewhere in the neighborhood of $150 million a year directly into the state coffers, many of our local governments get significant amounts of revenue, and so the cities and the counties are affected tremendously as well. And so we're looking at responsible ways to do it. We reached out to the industry and we encouraged them to provide us their guidelines on how the industry could reopen in a safe, responsible way. The Gaming Commission is a three-person body.
You'll take industry guidelines
actually regulates
over your
gaming
guidelines?
in Mississippi. No, we asked them to provide guidelines, and we have the Gaming Commission actually looking at it, and they are going to come up with their own guidelines, and then ultimately we'll look at both of them and we'll make a decision.
There you go. So you can see how Republicans govern, right? They don't. They are there to take directions from the corporatocracy. Look, let's be frank now. Democrats do it to some extent as well. But these guys believe they are run. The corporations tell them what to do. The corporations give them the guidelines. I've always said, we don't let somebody design an economy and then try to fit that economy into humanity. We take humanity and make sure that the economic system that we build conforms to how we want to live as human beings. Right now in America, a whole bunch of capitalists created a system to empower themselves, to empower them, to enrich them, and then after that, they fit everything into it. So whenever you ask a question about trying to do anything, the first thing that is asked is, how is that going to affect business? We have to come to the point where the first thing we ask is, how does that affect human beings? How does that affect the American citizen? How does that affect the child? How does that affect everyone else? We have to start changing our mentality. And what you saw there is how that it sounds innocuous, but it is serious. It sounds innocuous, but it is serious, and we better watch it. That is what happens. Now, if you notice earlier on, the chair, or rather the majority leader of the Senate, Mitch McConnell, went on a right-wing radio show and said, "Oh, he's not going to bail out New York, and he's not going to bail out blue states," is what he said, and that we don't need to pass laws or pass bailouts for these states. It would be a blue state bailout or something like that. Well, you know what? Sometimes you have to get to a realm of reality. And Democrats generally don't have that fighting killer spirit that puts the knife in. I hate the violence, but put the knife in, turn it, and put salt into the wound. They generally don't do that. Well, over the last 2 days, we had a Democrat. Yes, he's a neoliberal, but he's a basically good neoliberal Democrat until we can get full true progressives. But I was very happy with his response. I want you to listen to this one because, baby, he hit it on the nail. Check this out.
Bail out New York. You're not bailing out New York. New York has bailed you out.
Let me start that over again. I really, really want you to hear this. So let's do that again.
Bail out New York. You're not bailing out New York. New York has bailed you out every year. It's bailed you out. Mitch McConnell is a taker, not a giver. New York is the state of givers. We put more money into the federal pot every year. We're the #1 state in donating to the federal pot. #1. Kentucky is the #3 state in taking from the federal pot. They take out more from the federal pot than they put in every year. But this is America. America, states, one federal pot, you put in what you can, and the states that need it, take it. Okay, so for every year, New York was the #1 donor state, putting in more money than it took out. Putting in more money than anyone else, and taking out less. #1 donor state. Kentucky every year was the #3 state that took out more than they put in. So they were we were putting money into the pot, they were taking our dollars out of the pot. And now he wants to look at New York and say, we're bailing you out? You're bailing us out. Just give me my money back, Senator.
I love that. Just give me my money back, Senator. Give me my money back. Because we've been bailing out all these red states for a very long time. And even the very, very, very rich state of Texas, right? We are almost break even. We give up as much as we take, right? But when it comes to New York, Connecticut, and all these other states, they put a whole lot of money into the federal government, and all these red states that are always there criticizing them because they have high taxes because of all of this. You know why they have high taxes? Because they invest in their people. You know why the other places have low taxes? Because they don't. You know why we kill our people here in Texas? Because we don't insure them. You go to New York, you go to DC, you go to California, you go to Seattle. All these places take care of their people. Okay? These red states have big mouths. They talk, cut and spend, cut taxes. We want to cut your tax. Yeah, they keep cutting taxes for the corporations, and then they sock it to the kids who have to pay their ways. Come on, people. Don't you see the game? And if you are a red state Republican voting person, how can you justify? You may not collect welfare yourself, but you are collecting welfare indirectly. Because if your state has a lot of people on welfare, which means it's getting a hell of a lot of stuff from different places, meaning from other states, the blue states, because they are subsidizing your poor, means that you are not doing your job in your state. So you are on welfare as well. So please, let's get with the program. Let's get with the program. Now, this part of the program was pretty much to tell Republicans right now, let's get real. A lot of what you're telling your people is crap. And in the process of doing that, you're misleading them and having them vote continuously against their own interest. And in doing so, again, they keep electing you. And you keep hurting them. One of the reasons for politics done right is to help them find the path, not to allow you, with your corrupt self, to hurt them anymore. Mitch McConnell is one of the worst. He is one of the biggest welfare recipients and one of the most powerful people in Congress who, because people send him to screw themselves, is still there. But anyhow, let me tell you one of the places I want to go. It is, for a long time let's just let Donald Trump get through with his term. Let's get him out of office through the vote in November. But you know what? I am starting to get worried. I am starting to get worried that this guy is genuinely crazy. I am getting the feeling that Donald Trump is mentally ill. Yes, we know he is a narcissist. Yes, we know all these things about him. But I think the guy has gone fully crazy. Let's go ahead and play, first of all, what happened where he tries to contradict his two directors, the director of the Infectious Disease, the Infectious Disease Institute, as well as the CDC. Check this out, and then we'll take it on the other side.
Dr. Robert Redfield was totally misquoted in the media on a statement about the fall season and the virus. Totally misquoted.
You were accurately quoted, correct?
I'm accurately quoted in the Washington Post.
You were accurately quoted, correct?
I'm accurately quoted in the Washington Post.
It might not come back at all, Jeff. It's also possible it doesn't come back at all.
We will have coronavirus in the fall. I am convinced of that. There will be coronavirus in the fall.
It might not come back at all, Jeff. It's also possible it doesn't come back at all.
We will have coronavirus in the fall. I am convinced of that. There will be coronavirus in the fall.
There will be coronavirus in the floor. Folks, somebody said they don't see audio. Just to be sure, can everybody see audio? If you're on Facebook, please go ahead and put a message in there telling me that you can see audio. If you're in YouTube, tell me as well. Anyhow, let's continue because I am showing that I'm transmitting audio right now. So I'm not sure what's going on. Anyhow, going back to that. So you can see Donald Trump, he has the two directors, infectious diseases and the CDC. Okay? So here's the issue. Think about this, folks. Right in front of the president, each of these guys pretty much talk to the American people and say, no, the president is full of you know what. This is the reality. I mean, they don't go ahead and really talk to him directly and say it, but that is pretty much what they meant, right? So I want to play you now a very important piece. I did this morning. I did the whole thing this morning because yesterday took it to the cleaners. After I saw the press conference yesterday, it was more concerning than ever. And I'll play that and then we'll take it on the other side. I've called the president a clear and present danger many times, and a lot of people think that is an overstatement. It is absolutely not. I mean, the president and his sycophants are out there giving non-science-based information and also giving a lot of misinformation and lies. They've caused people to go on cruises that were ill-advised. They've gotten people to disregard the severity or the contagion of this virus. They've done a whole lot of things with their own that had caused material damage, health damage to these people. And the president continues to do that. Yesterday in the press conference, again, just by his words, not understanding that his words mean something, check out what he did.
See the disinfectant where it knocks it out in a minute. Is there a way we can do something like that by injection inside or almost a cleaning? Because you see it gets on the lungs and it does a tremendous number of the lungs. I would like you to speak to the medical doctors to see if there's any way that you can apply light and heat to cure. Deborah, have you ever heard of that? The heat and the light relative to certain viruses, yes, but relative to this virus?
Not as a treatment. I mean, certainly fever is a good thing. When you have a fever, it helps your body respond. But not as, I've not seen heat or light.
I think it's a great thing to look at. I mean, you know.
Now, the average person that idolizes Trump's cult, they would hear him say something like that, and in as much as he didn't say go inject yourself with bleach or Lysol, might as well he had for some. Because to some, they believe that Trump is simply always under attack. That's their belief. They don't understand that it's not that way at all. But here's what I could envision some of them doing. Oh, these doctors, those scientists are telling our president that can't be done. I am going to do it myself, and just to show that it really works and let the president know it really. I mean, people don't understand the psychological defect within a whole lot of folks. I'm not talking about those that benefit from his economic policy. I'm talking about those folks who genuinely adore this guy. I don't know what kind of pathology causes that, but there are people who genuinely adore this guy. And those are the people that I feel for. Those are the people that I'm concerned about. Because they genuinely think this person has their best interest at hand. He does not. And the fact that he says the things that he says proves two things. He doesn't really have much upstairs. We understand that. But secondly, he doesn't understand that being the president, not having the knowledge to give pertinent advice, is not only a clear and present danger to many, but it has already killed much of the tens of thousands of people that have died thus far. It's because of what he has done, because of what he failed to do, and because of the sycophants around him that refuse to tell him what he needs to do. And if he doesn't, he should be gone. I hope you got that. But, I'm going to go to and talk to you guys in the room after this, because I'm seeing Brother Mike Cisak. I don't know, Brother Cisak, what it is where once President Trump makes a rather a lying statement, a stupid statement, an irrational statement, that his whole posse goes all over the internet to try to justify something silly he said because he read it on some crazy site, or because he misinterpreted some information from a research from a reputable site. I mean, there are a lot of reasons why. I mean, people go look these things up to say, okay, let's try to find a way that we can spin the president's idiocy, the president's ignorance into something that gives it plausibility. The problem with doing that is it makes you a sycophant. And I say that as kindly as I can, because I have relatives that are Trump supporters as well. I have a relative who graduated first in their class that is a Trump supporter. I am so disappointed in that relative, in that there is something within the Trump arena, within the Trump methodology, within the Trump hidden a certain part of your brain that disables it. I am probably not smart enough to understand what that is quite yet. But in talking to hundreds, if not thousands of people over the years, I think I'm starting to learn. I'm starting to get there. I still need to educate myself quite a bit more. But for those of you who continuously try to justify the idiocy that comes out of this guy's mouth, and I generally don't talk in terms of idiocy and stupid and that kind of stuff, but at this point, we are at a dangerous point. So forgive my use of the term idiocy. Forgive my use of the term stupid at times in this scenario. But anyhow, to show you that it can be done, and I don't want to hear about Sweden, because Sweden, the numbers are not correct. Let's not talk about Sweden, but I'll talk about it when I hit the room. But let's go ahead now and talk about Germany and how others have actually correctly handled the problems. Why our president is directly responsible for tens of thousands of Americans, and for that, why it is time to use the 25th Amendment. All those folks around him know he's a psychopath. All of those people that serve with him knows he's a psychopath. It is time to use the 25th Amendment, Clause 4, to get him to hell out of there. And I've been saying this now for the last several days. I hadn't articulated on air, but I'll show you that in a minute. But check out how it is supposed to be done.
As much of our country remains under these stay-at-home orders, other countries have managed to control the virus enough to start to reemerge. One thing they all seem to have in common is extensive testing. Our chief foreign correspondent, Richard Engel, has that story.
Scientists have warned time and time again that this coronavirus hollowing out world capitals can't be defeated without a vaccine. But several nations have proven it can be tamed. Germany is already opening again, but it only came after months of countermeasures. Germany, with a large population, a quarter of the U.S., found a three-part formula to choke off the virus. And it's not very complicated. Honesty, testing, and isolating the sick. While President Trump downplayed the virus as just a nasty cold in the early weeks.
It's a little like the regular flu that we have flu shots for.
Chancellor Angela Merkel took the exact opposite approach, leveling with Germans in March that 70% of them could become infected. Germany began testing extensively. By now, it's tested twice as many people per capita as the United States. And that wasn't rocket science either. The tests aren't complicated to make, and they've been available internationally for a while. In early March, I visited a lab in Germany. A company called QIAGEN was making.
This will tell you if they have the coronavirus, if they don't have the coronavirus, and what they really have.
And it will tell you that in just 1 hour.
There were hundreds of these testing machines already in the United States at the time, but they didn't get approval from the FDA to turn them on until nearly a month after my visit. Germany didn't lose that critical time, and now Germany is delivering care directly to people who need it so they can stay isolated. It's a program called the Corona Taxi, but really, it's just old-fashioned house calls. And it's not just Germany. South Korea and the United States had their first confirmed COVID cases on the same day in January. Yet by March 8th, South Korea had done 700 times more tests per capita than the United States, which only recently caught up. And South Korea has been doing aggressive contact tracing using mobile phones and making the data available so people know where the hotspots are.
Right now, across the street, there would be a store that the patient had visited on April 4th.
The United States these days reports tens of thousands of new virus cases a day. South Korea today reported 8. Dr. Erwin Redliner is the director of Columbia University's Center of Disaster Preparedness and an NBC analyst.
When you look at how the United States has rallied in times of national crisis, during World War II, when all the factories were converted into making war machines, what happened this time? We seem to have been unable to rise to this challenge on a government level.
Yeah, well, without being too political about this, what happened was Donald Trump. We had a president come into office that made a habit of misrepresenting facts in reality. So what the public got and what governors and mayors got was a very disorganized series of untruths, misstatements, and so on that created a tremendous amount of confusion.
There isn't a secret plan for taming COVID-19. It's obvious. Be honest, test, isolate the sick and vulnerable, and do it without vacillating or theater. Some countries have done it. The U.S. has not.
Some countries have done it, the U.S. has not. Okay, I hadn't saluted all my listeners, all the folks that are in the room right now. So let me go ahead and do that real quick. Lee Grant, welcome aboard. Courtney Withak, welcome aboard. Michael Rudnin, welcome aboard. Bruce Pollard, welcome aboard. Mike Cisak, welcome aboard. Let's see who else is in the room. If I miss you, forgive me. I don't see some regulars. Avian Q from YouTube, welcome aboard. Let's say Norman Reynolds, welcome aboard, my brother. My Caribbean Latino brother. And let's see, who else is here? Bruce, I mentioned Bruce, I think, already. Okay, I'm scrolling up. If I pass you up, just say, Egberto, you fool, you passed me up. How could you possibly do that? Okay, let's get busy. So it turns out Bruce is watching us while he's doing some code, Win 10 registry. Brother, don't make a mistake in the Windows 10 registry, because you can actually cause some huge problems, and then you have to go to that special disk and rebuild that registry. That registry can be a killer. In the old days, I remember, actually, it was a lot tougher under Windows NT4. So anyhow, having trouble pronouncing my nickname, AVQ, easier. Okay, AVQ, how you doing, brother AVQ? Sorry if I destroyed your name. And Crisa Marie Pebenito. Crisa Marie Pebenito, welcome aboard. Thank you so kindly for being here. Anybody else throw a message in either YouTube or Periscope or Facebook on the particular? You actually have to be on Facebook.com/politics done right for me to see it. If you're in other places where we're shared, I don't see it. So anyhow, let's get busy. Michael Rudnin says, he was answering that to Bruce Pollard. Oops, I got a new message in. Let me see if there's somebody else to salute. Okay, Pebenito. Okay, let's continue. Okay, I'm going to have to deal with my brother CSAC about different things in a minute. But let's go ahead and start with... Bruce wants to know if we are all busy infusing ourselves with ultraviolet bleach. You know, you get the bleach with hit the bleach with ultraviolet light, and somehow it's able to absorb the ultraviolet light. You put it in your veins, and it just kills you. All right, Macaradna, not everyone on that line is wearing a mask. When they go inside, they'd be, uh-oh, you're right about that. That was during one of the things that I played. Government is necessary. Republicans really will break government in order to push private. And you know, that's what people don't understand. People think it is just that Republicans don't like government. It's not that Republican doesn't like government. It's that Republicans want everything privatized. It's the libertarian portion of their sect, right? But here's the funny thing about it. Even the most libertarian of them all, Ayn Rand was such an evil woman. She said there was no place for passion because you having compassion as a government meant that you were taking money from one place and putting it somewhere else. But you know what? It is funny because who's doing that the most? Red states. Red states love to say, oh, no, we have to take care of our own, right? But as Mayor Cuomo pointed out, they are the ones that are taking the most. They are welfare states, the red states they are. Anyway, continuing, let's go ahead and see. So we continue. We have Rudnan says that the standard technique of privatization, defund, make sure things don't work. People get angry. You hand it over private capital. Noam Chomsky, exactly right. I like Norm. We carry a lot of his stuff at KPFT. Okay, now comes Mike Cisak. Ultraviolet radiation in the blood. Let me tell you what I'm going to do, Mike Cisak. I just want to see a little topic of that. Of course, the resources is TMC. Ultraviolet radiation, the cure that time forgot. And where did that come from again? HHS. Oh, ultraviolet blood radiation was extensively used in the 1940s and 1950s to treat many diseases like septicemia, pneumonia, tuberculosis, and all that. All right. Okay. So I guess we must come under the conclusion that all these hospitals decided that ultraviolet radiation that used to work before doesn't work, or maybe just because the pharmaceutical. Look, there's a good conspiracy theory behind that, Mike Cisak, right? Pharmaceuticals want to sell their products. We forget about things like ultraviolet light, which is very cheap. You know, you can just run the blood infusion through the machine. Look, it's crap. First of all, you start irradiating things, you don't know what you're irradiating. Does a piece of radiation know if it is attacking a cell? Let's get this pretty clear here, okay? Within the bloodstream, there's a whole lot of different kinds of cells, okay? The reason what pharmaceuticals tend to do is they put attractors on whatever medicines that they're giving you in general, so that those attractors are susceptible to particular living beings in your blood. So what they do in the case of creating a vaccine, they look for the way that particular virus attack a cell. And they say, if we can replace that to fool the body into thinking this is that, it starts to build antibodies. And because this new thing that we create ain't going to kill you, we can use it. The same thing goes with a lot of chemotherapies, right? The idea is to find a way to fool the body into creating a way to defend itself so that you don't have to put something in there that kills everything. Okay? So just throwing out even with targeted radiation, we're looking at the same thing. When you're talking about irradiating somebody's blood, that's a different subject. Again, looking for material to somehow make a stupid statement by the president valid. Mike Cisak, you should know better. You should know that's not going to fly on Politics Done Right, my brother. Okay, second one. Labor, low bar flexibility, fiber optic lung leverage. Therapeutic benefit in severe respiratory failure in pulmonary alveolar I love the way these guys do this stuff, right? The problem is the mechanism by which this particular virus works, sir. I can understand you trying to do all these light stuff in the thing, but what you are thinking that somehow you can go in there with the light and kill virus, and then everything is fine. Let me tell you something about viruses and why we have things like blood clots and all of that with corona. Corona goes into your system. The system fights corona. After the system is fighting corona, it creates a hell of a lot of debris. All that debris that it creates do things like clumping of vessels and clumping of cells, etc. What is that? Blood clots. Okay? If these therapies could be used in some mass scale or some effective way, it would make sense. But even if it were the case that it were plausible, For the tens of thousands of people that require it, given that it's not there, it is not there. It is again silly. All right, let's go to the next one. CSAC writes, many people therefore assume that UBI must act by killing pathogens. UBI stands, that must be a different kind of UBI. I don't know what, you have to tell me what it stands for. Bacteria, viruses, or other microcirculating in the bloodstream. However, there's no evidence that is actually the case. Please read what you post before you post. Oh, that is Rudnin replying to CSAC. Okay, I missed that. All right, Mike CSAC said, hydrogen peroxide, a potential treatment for coronavirus infection? Wow. And who is the source again? MSN. I'm impressed. So, look, I guess I better take the call here real quickly. Go ahead. Caller on 573, come on in. You're on 573.
Hey, it's Mike.
My brother sees... Mike, why are you doing this to me, Mike?
Yes. Well, I just like to educate you a little bit.
Yes, you did, brother. You did.
Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to invite you to actually take some time later tonight and read the links I gave you.
I will.
Okay.
I will.
Because, please. Okay. Now, the other science that, as far as coronavirus, okay, basically what they're understanding is that the coronavirus actually gets into the red blood cells, which the red blood cells take up the oxygen from the lungs.
We understand all of that, sir.
Right. So what happens is if you have a drug that can block the uptake of the virus into the red blood cells, then basically what you're doing is you're preventing the virus from being able to replicate, because it can only replicate once it gets
I must stop
you
because you're repeating exactly what I said, right? In other words, that is what the vaccine does. Go ahead.
You made it wrong.
Go ahead.
No. Okay, so what happens is the hydroxychloroquine plus the Z-Pack, basically stuff, plus zinc, okay, combines together to block in the to get into the red blood cells and block the coronavirus. Okay, once that happens, the coronavirus has stopped growing as far as replicating, and then the person is able to have their white blood cells, their immune system, attack the remaining virus and get better. Okay,
all right.
That's how that medicine is actually working.
I must stop you there, because the one thing that I don't want people to get, first of all, I let everybody talk, and you have free will to talk here, brother. You know that.
But they do have to do that early on. Otherwise, what happens is the coronavirus it prevents your red blood cells from taking up oxygen, which means I
understand, sir. I honestly understand what you're saying, and let me tell you better where I agree with you. I want to tell you where I agree with you, because there have been some studies that show the reason why the zinc lozenges work against the cold is the same type of mechanism that you're talking about. It prevents itself from attaching to the cells, which makes the replication occur. I get all of that, right? I am not a super smart doctor or anything like that, but I understand when somebody explains the mechanism to me. I really do. And I understand where you are coming from as well. But let me tell you the one thing that you have to take into account. Plaquenil is not a new drug. The hydroxychloroquine is not a new drug. It has been out there all the time. My wife is on it because she has lupus. My wife has lupus. She is on it. It's a very dangerous drug. And you have to be very well monitored, and you have to be fairly healthy to take it. So the results that we've seen at the VA is not at all not at all what we had not expected.
By the way.
Yes.
By the way, just a quick side note on that VA review, not a study, that was not.
Yeah, go ahead, make your point, because I need to go and answer more questions.
Actually, the VA had come out with a statement saying, "Hey, look, please don't take those results. It was not a study. It was not, blind study."
And they had to do that. Mike CSAC, you're a smart man.
They had to take it back.
CSAC, hold on. CSAC, please. You got to stop when I ask you to stop, CSAC, please.
No, because
I give you the CSAC, brother CSAC. I give you a lot of leeway, but it's still I have to still conduct the show, sir. So please help me out here if we don't talk against each other. And if I ask you to stop, I beg that you stop. So here's what I'm trying to say. I am saying that whenever the VA comes out with a message and then they sort of silently retract. When the CDC comes out with a message and silent, I'm not done, sir. I'm not done, sir. Please, I'll give you a chance to make a final comment.
Man, you just
when the CDC, I'm going to let you speak, sir. I'm going to let you speak. When the CDC comes out with something and then they backtrack, and when others, every time a federal agency says something that is against the policy of President Trump, not of the administration, but of Trump, they ultimately come out and retract it in some form, in some manner. Go ahead and finish, and then I got to go to the rest of the callers, sir.
Okay. Here's the
real quick. You got 1 minute.
Okay. People have been looking into that University of Virginia review. They reviewed the VA. That's what they end up doing. When they use the plaque window, that stuff, they were given it at the very end, okay, as far as very last treatment.
Yes.
Okay. Most people know. Even was it Tamiflu? It doesn't work if you get.
If you give it. No, you're right. I'm not.
Over.
Look, you're right about that, sir.
Yeah.
You're right.
Okay. So here's the problem. The VA study really didn't say anything. Okay. Because it was not done correctly as far as a review and all that.
All right,
kind of
Mike.
So
I'm going to ask you, Mike.
Along with only 300 some odd people.
I think everybody that's listening to you understand where you're coming from. I really do. Let's talk.
Yeah.
Keep listening and call me back on Monday. Honestly, keep listening. Call me back on Monday. Yeah. But I'm going to read your stuff. Okay. All right.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
You take care, brother. Have a good one. All right, folks. Anyhow, let me continue with the messages here. I haven't read in detail what Mike has sent, but I think Mike is too committed to Donald Trump. I'll just tell you hear me tell him that directly as well. He's too committed to Donald Trump. I don't mind Mike being a conservative, but he has to understand that he has to decouple his conservatism from Donald Trump. Else he'll pay the price. All of us are going to pay the price. Okay, Norman Reynolds. Hi, everyone. It's not new that Republicans do not believe in government in a solution to the problem, but they do believe government is the problem. It has been a priority to destroy government for 35 years. You're absolutely right, brother. The current response to COVID-19 in its Republican administration is just an example of this. 100% right. Rudnin answer to CSAC. Kill yourself over being a Trump cultist, feel free. I can't stop you, but don't spread your insanity. But let me just tell you one thing why I want to have Mike Cisak, right? First of all, I will never give up on Mike Cisak, Rudnin. But secondly, I need Mike. You see, everything that Mike Cisak brings to us is what a lot of our brothers and sisters are seeing out there and believe in. So we need to know all the things that they are hearing that make them so trastornados en la mente. Okay? And that's the reason why I love to have Mike Cisak here and others, because we get a chance for that dialogue. Sean Christian says, Moscow match is an enemy of the state. Moscow! There you go. All right. Michael Rudden, Cuomo is repeating himself so much. Point at the end. Rudnin, you are so damn impatient, brother Rudnin. Yes, he sings, and I like to hear him sing, I like to hear the way Cuomo talks. It has a way of getting to you, but you're impatient, Rudnin. Okay, Bruce Pollard says, UV of blood could be an invention for a simple addition to the plasma machine. Yeah, you're right about that, Bruce. You just have it there, and as it's flow, you have the UV going through it. In fact, actually, Bruce, let me tell you better. That invention is already there, because that's what they do when you buy purified water from certain vendors. They have it pass through a UV light to kill whatever bacteria are in there, but it kills everything that's in there. All right, Mike Reynolds, gave a little thing I'll look at that later as well. Reynolds. Lee Grant, taxes, let me see how much time I got. I better speed up. How do we invest in people by taking money away from them? Thank you, Lee Grant. And you don't take away the money from people. You see, you have to change the way you think. You have to stop thinking the individual and think the collective, right? Let me give an example. I pay taxes. I have a daughter in college. I don't have a daughter in high school anymore. I continue to pay school taxes that pay for the high schools because those kids that are going to high school right now need to be educated. As they are educated later on in life, when I am on Social Security, when I'm living my life, I need people who are going to continue society, make society better. It is my investment in them. And how do I invest in them? Through my taxes to pay for their schooling and everything else. So Lee Grant, it's a different way of thinking from the individual who just, we say, I'll decide where I want to put my money. That comes with a whole lot of prejudice and other things. When we as a society do things, it's different. Mike Cisak says, replying to, I'll leave that one for you and Norman. Okay, let's continue. AVG or AVQ, I think you said you want me to call you. YouTube audio is fine. Thank you, brother. Courtney Withak, I can see and hear you from Facebook. Thank you, Courtney. Kathleen Marin Morgan, my good friend. How are you doing, my dear friend? Okay, continuing. Egberto, this is what Mike Cisak has to tell me. Egberto, you should educate yourself on what Trump was talking about. I posted a bunch of links. Your ignorance is really bad here. Mike Cisak, you don't think I'm ignorant, do you? That's okay. All right, Michael Rudnin says, Cisak is playing a conservative games again. Yeah, he always does, right? But he's our friend. Hey, look, we are all family in here, all right? All of us are family. This is a politics done right family, whether you're on the right, the left, or otherwise. As Norman would say, however, you guys on the right doesn't mean well, and you're not doing the moral thing. I had to channel you, Senor Reynolds. I had to channel you. I needed to channel you. I needed to channel some morality here. Okay, and Courtney Withak agrees with Senor Rudnin. All right, Mike Cisak, Egberto, because you are ignorant doesn't give you license to rag on President Trump for no reason. So you think I'm ignorant and you think President Trump is smart. Let me tell you, I'm in a room here with a lot of smart people. I'm in here with Bruce Pollard, a scientist. I'm in here with Reynolds, an engineer. I am in here, and these are people whose professions I know, okay? I don't think any one of them would say that I'm too stupid, maybe a little bit stupid, but I don't think they'll say I'm too stupid or ignorant. But all of us do agree on one thing, that our president is in fact pretty damn ignorant and knows very little. We all agree with that. I don't know how many people don't agree, even people that support him. My relatives that support him agree that he's a dunce. So I don't know, my friend. Okay. Courtney Withak says, Mike Cisak implies that Trump is actually doing some reading. However, it is clear he speaks off the cuff and he doesn't even know grammar. You know, I'm from a foreign country. And yeah, I make grammatical errors, but hell, mine is usually not that bad, you know? All right. I was wrong. Media lied about Trump. Oh, okay, I'm not going to leave that one. No. I vote the same. There has been historically changed things that turned out to be useful. He has a role that when he speaks outside, he needs to be clear. I think I understand what you're saying, but I better not comment on that because I don't want to misunderstand. Okay. It will never happen. Oh, you're talking about the 25th Amendment. I understand. Let me tell you, it still can happen. It can't happen under the current conditions. But if he keeps doing the stupid and he does something that puts the right people in mortal danger, it will. Okay, that is very clear and disturbing. The lack of clear claim and concise leadership is appalling and unacceptable from Courtney Withak. Lee Grant, if I believed, as you suggest, Trump has killed 10,000 people, it would be raising an armed militia to overthrow the government. I know, but you see, first you have to change your model of thinking, Lee Grant. And keep listening to Politics and Right. Eventually we'll get there together. Courtney Withak says, thank you, Egberto, for speaking and sharing your thoughts and kindness and intelligence. Oh, you see, I love you, Courtney. Thank you. It's admirable and appreciated. You know what? Brother Cisak? I'd rather listen to Courtney Withak than listen to you on whether I am too dumb or not. It looks like I got a call. I'm going to take it. Okay, 816, come on in. You got 30 seconds.
Hey, Egberto. I quit telling people that Republicans are for small government or opposed to government. They use government to break unions. They use government to restrict choice. When a crisis occurs, they use government to bail out companies. They're just for using government differently, different sets of people. The Democrats are.
The doctor keeps speaking because I didn't realize it was you. You can say as you please. I'll extend the show if you got something else to add, brother.
Well, no, I just think we play into their hands. If you're really against government, go be a libertarian. Republicans don't oppose government.
Oh, I get what you're saying. You're absolutely right because I went ahead. Yeah, you're right. You're right. They are for big government too. It's just not the way that we want it for people, right?
There's a different set of winners under Republican big government than under Democratic big government.
I tell you what, Doc, I tell you what, explain that. Tell us who the winners are under big government for Republicans and tell us who the winners are under big government for Democrats.
They want to use government to promote the interests of job creators as opposed to workers. And the whole word job creator is a misnomer to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
They want to use government to promote the interests of the unborn child at the expense of women. They want to use government to promote the interests of employers over employees. They want to use the interests of government or the powers of government to promote white agendas as opposed to minority agendas. You just go down the list, and they're happy to use government.
Thank you so kindly, Doc. And I would say your name, but I don't know if I should or not. But thank you very much, Doc.
And how many people with an 816 number call your show?
Well, you know what? Let me tell you what happened. Let me tell you what happened, Doc. I wasn't looking at the screen. I turned around. I said, "Oops, I got a call," because Michael Rudnin, both Rudnin and CSEC had me so into it. You know what I mean?
I know.
Thank you, man. You have a great day. Okay.
So, all right. You too, Egberto.
All right. Bye-bye. All right, folks. Now let's continue real quick before I close out. Thank you for your nice thoughts, Courtney. I really appreciate them. Lee Grant says, and it's Courtney, and it's highly entertaining too. And it's highly entertaining. Are you talking about me being entertaining, Lee? Wow, I thought I was boring, but thank you, brother. All right, Germany, let private industry produce a test for COVID. I don't have a problem with that, Senor CSAC, but we'll talk about that another time because I need to be hurried and get out of here, and I want to talk to everybody. Bruce, WW2, and wait. Okay, Crisa Marie Pabenito, I'm here. Thank you for being here. AVQ, having trouble pronouncing my nickname. AVQ. Okay, I got you, brother. AVQ. Courtney Whittack, Ayn Rand, amazing literature, great reference. Yes, and you know what? When she was on her deathbed, she was on Social Security. The woman that wanted the government to give nothing to nobody was on Social Security. Other example, ozone. Muchas gracias, Senor Pollard. Rudnin, I'm going to skip yours for now, Rudnin. Courtney says you should laugh out loud more. You're fun. Oh, wow. Okay, I will. I'll try to laugh some more. Norman, a more updated and lowest tech treatment for COVID-19 is to use plasma transfusion. You know, Norman, they are using that. They're trying to get all those folks who have that, and they're using it, and they're having some very good success with it, apparently. Courtney says, let's see. Courtney with a K likes your laugh, Egberto. And it's Mike Cisak, a doctor or something. I don't know. Let's see. Mike Cisak says, replying to Courtney, I'll leave that between you and Courtney. And replying to Courtney Whittack, Mike Cisak, I'll leave that between you two. And Crisa Marie Pabenito, thank you too. I'm learning a lot on your show. I listen to you when you're live. Thank you. And those of you who listen live, I beg of thee, I implore of thee, we need to share this. You know, I got to leave now, but I want to share something that, before I did the program today, I was on a call. Actually, it was a Zoom call. A whole bunch of us were getting together. We had the mayor of a city, I think it was Raleigh, North Carolina, the woman, I think it's Raleigh, North Carolina, the mayor of Phoenix. We had Dennis Kucinich and his wife, who is also an activist, on. We had I don't remember, a whole bunch of activists on and some politicians on, etc. And we were really, really talking about how do we get the message out to try to get people working on what we have to get done to get this system going, right? Because we're going into a depression. How do we get out elevating the average American citizen? And my entry into this was we have to get the word out, because as it turns out, the mainstream media is working right now for the corporatocracy. They are working for those people in power. So it's about making sure the corporations are whole first, and then whatever is left over, then we get, right? But we need to change the paradigm. We can't change the paradigm dependent on our mainstream media. We have to have what we're doing here. We need a lot of different politics done right. Any of you have the capabilities in your homes to do a little green screen or whatever? Hell, I will help you out to get stuff like this going, because I think we need a lot of this. A lot of people who have their different spheres of influence. So how do we start that? How do we make that happen? You need to share our stuff everywhere that you can. As soon as you hear us moving, share. If you're listening to us on a podcast, share the podcast. If you're listening to us on YouTube, share the YouTube. On Facebook, share it everywhere you can. If you believe in what we're saying, right? And then the other thing that I have to say, and this now is self-promotion, not self-promotion, it's like, keep us alive, please. Keep us alive by going to our store. Get some of our products at our store, store.politicsdoneright.com, store.politicsdoneright.com. Why do I need you to go to our store? I need you to go to our store so that the products that you purchase from us, the little bit of profits on that go into supporting Politics Done Right and all their endeavors. We used to fly all over the country. Well, we're not going to be doing any flying anytime soon to go to any conventions or anything right now, but that's what we do. But one of the things, most importantly, that I want to ask you to do is to please subscribe to our program. I just put the link in there. So as little as a cup of coffee or less than a cup of coffee, $1.99 or above, whatever you want to be, subscribe to Politics Done Right. We need your subscriptions. A listener, I call it customer, I guess I'm thinking free markets right now. A customer called and I put a message saying, hey, get me to 100. And right away, this guy got us up to 100. I really want to get to 125 before the month is out. Can you guys help us out get to 125 by subscribing at that link that I just provided down there? If you just want to be a contributor, you can also go to paypal.me/politicsdoneright. Again, that is paypal.me/politicsdoneright. That is how we're going to get the message out. Look, this is a lot less lucrative than writing software, as Bruce can probably attest to. But this is something that we have to do, right? We have to get the message out. So please go ahead and get one of our t-shirts or our cups or books. As I See It, Class Warfare, The Only Resort to Right-Wing Doom. That's a book that I wrote. I promise you, if you get that book, you'll understand the economy in simple terms and how it goes from the person who bakes bread, from the person who forms the whole works. You'd learn about patents, all that stuff, and how it all ties in. Things that most people don't really think about, but need to think about if they want to understand and not believe the crap that Republicans and neoliberal Democrats tell you. So please go to store.politicsdoneright.com. Get As I See It, Class Warfare, The Only Resort to Right-Wing Doom. And remember, activists sometimes used to eat really bad, and not only eat bad, not do the right thing. I wrote this book, Lose Weight. What is it called? Lose Weight and Be Fit Right Now. That's how I got sort of healthy. I have that also at our store. So go to store.politicsdoneright.com. But if you want to be a member of our posse, well, you're already a member of our posse. That's how I am. Everybody that's here is a member of the posse. But what I want to ask you to do is do support us. It's very inexpensive. It is just like getting us a cup of coffee or something. Go to patreon.com/politicsdoneright. That is patreon.com/politicsdoneright. Look, I appreciate you being here. I thank you so kindly for listening to what I have to say. I thank you so kindly for calling in. I thank you so kindly for putting messages out there. I thank you so kindly for the links that you give me, the links that you make me read. Because nobody has it all. Nobody has it all here, right? That's what we're all here for, but we all do know we want something. Michael Cisak got a lot of blowback today, Mr. Conservative, but you know what? He's our brother too, you know? So here's the deal, folks. Support the program. Share the program all over the place. Share the podcast. I can take care of that as soon as I'm done here. But my name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right. And you know how I close out this baby. I am what? Out. I'm Egberto Willies, host of Politics Done Right, an independent news program. I post several news videos of interest every day. I ask you so kindly to subscribe to my channel. And please leave me some comments. Thank you very much.